Hi there, Tyler here from the Unemployed Architects, back to you with another Weekend Warrior Show recap podcast. This last weekend I played at Pub 13 in Pontiac, and that was actually my only show of the weekend. I had a show booked on Saturday night at Sammer's 2 in Gibson City, but got canceled last minute. They closed down and then they were reopening as something else, and they had some construction that wasn't quite done, so never ideal as far as that goes to get a show cancellation on the last minute kind of thing. But I pretty much booked every Friday and Saturday night, sometimes 2 shows in a day, and sometimes some Thursdays and other days of the week until August. So I kind of tried to really enjoy this last Saturday off. Of course, there'll probably be other last-minute cancellations here and there, but as of now, I think I'm booked through August 10th, every Friday and Saturday, and we're talking, this is May, the beginning of May, so, Pub 13, so, I went back pretty early. I decided to shake up the sound as far as what I usually do there. I brought one big main, and then I used another smaller one of the same brand as a front fill. And those are mainly the altos. Did less on the monitors in general, but overall, I think that worked out pretty good, because then what happens a lot of the time, I feel like there, is the people in front can't ever hear because we're using one main and it's not hitting anybody really directly. So I put the main speaker up pretty high, and then the front fill, I didn't push the volume a ton, but I wanted people that were right in front to be able to hear. So I feel like that helped. This was a show that Dave and Lo came to. We got a new kind of vocal pedal for Low. Actually, it's really a guitar pedal, but we recently did Weft live on the radio. I think I talked about that last time, and her vocals had this kind of overdriven sound, and it kind of felt like it had a cool effect. It had like an old-timey effect and maybe cut through a little bit better. So I got an overdrive pedal. I've been running the vocals in stereo lately. Blair kind of hit me to that, and just makes the vocals like cut through a lot better, since that's the main reason people are there anyway, is to hear the vocals. But anyway, so in her channel I ran just her regular vocal pedal into one input, and then I did an overdriven channel into another input, and that really, I feel like, kind of cleaned up the low end. It usually sounds like her voice has a lot of low end, so really cleaned up that kind of low end. And I feel like all the songs she sang solo sounded really good. I couldn't hear her as well on like singing backup vocals, and I was just kind of in my own head because I was doing the foot drums and stuff. But this was an interesting show. It was cool. I had a lot of old friends come. And I kind of did the promotion a little bit different. Like I wait till Wednesday to really start talking about shows of the weekend on like Facebook and Instagram and all that. But I decided with this one to go make the event for the next weekend on Monday. And because I did that, I invited like a bunch of Pontiac people that I knew might come, or would at least think about it if they knew about it. So that seemed to, get a lot of extra people out, and so I'm probably going to start doing that a little bit more. But a couple of friends came like super early, which was nice, because usually at the beginning part of shows you're kind of playing for maybe no one, or maybe just a few people, or maybe people that aren't really that into it yet. So I had a couple come that were like into it right from the get-go. My brother and his wife came, which was super nice of them, and so it was like early. I kind of had people there listening, and that made it a lot of fun. I was trying to, step up my game a little bit. I've been trying to do that more and more. I think the more shows I play, the more I realized that, like, if I want anything good to happen ever, I feel like I just need to be that guy all the time, as much as possible. I kind of overdid it on this show a little bit. Kept trying to get people up early, and I just like couldn't get them up. What inevitably happens when a bunch of my friends come to a show is I'll play like 3 hours, or I'll play 2.5 hours of a 3-hour show, and then that last half hour, everybody will finally be drunk enough to come up and like start dancing and stuff, and then we'll be done, and then they'll ask for a bunch of encores, which that definitely happened this time. I think we ended up playing maybe 3 or 4 encores, which, it's nice to be asked to do that, but I was going pretty hard with the foot drums. I didn't take a break after the second set for some reason. I just kept playing because I thought I had, a little extra energy, but that kind of waned as the night went on. There was a song that it was cool because the older friends, they all know a lot of my music, and they all know a lot of my older stuff. So I was getting requests for old songs that I had written that they knew, and so those were, a little bit of a stretch, but it was cool that they were asking for them, and they were excited when I was playing them. But there was one of them called Completely Closed that I played for a friend of mine. Pretty much anytime he's around, I play it, and what happens inevitably is I don't practice it ever, and then he shows up at a show, and then I just try to wing it, and sometimes it goes really good, sometimes it doesn't go as good, but it's a little bit of a challenging song because I do a lot of yelling at the end, and with the foot drums, I'm just not as fluid with it. So having Dave there to kind of fill in the gaps was nice. I was really like, by the time I got to the point in the night where I felt comfortable playing it, I was getting pretty exhausted, and so I kind of took the first half off and kind of just let Dave do his thing in the back with it, and then like I'd bring in the foot drums. But about 3/4 of the way through, there's this big long held sustained note, and I'm doing the foot drums, I'm playing the guitar, and I'm holding, and I've been playing like fast songs for a while, and I just there was 2 times where my knees buckled and I almost went down. So I don't know why I do that to myself, but I just feel like I can't stop, and I don't want to stop, and I've been in that situation where you're almost passing out a lot of times, so it's like I'm comfortable there, and I don't know if that's a good thing necessarily, but and after the show, another friend that was there, I was kind of telling him about that, and he was like, it's like the pub. You could just like take it easy. Who cares? It's just the pub. And I'm just thinking like, I need to be like willing to die up there if I want this to be, a real thing, I think. And that's the conclusion I've kind of come to more recently, watching the Queen stuff, and been watching some old Dave Matthews stuff too, and just that energy. I just feel like you gotta have so much energy and charisma. Charisma's not my strong point. I don't really have a lot of that, but I'm trying to learn how to grab a crowd, and I've been better, but it's just, I just feel like you have to be all in, and even if you're playing to nobody, maybe a small crowd of people, you got to be willing to go hard. That's going to be what makes the night memorable. But anyway, that show was, by the end of it, we had a huge group up in the front dancing, so that's always fun. I just got a little bit too exhausted. I worked out earlier in the day and thought that was a good idea for some reason, but then, I was regretting that pretty hard at the end of the night because I just had about nothing left. But it was a lot of fun, and then afterwards I went ahead and went over to a friend's house, the same friend that wanted me to play that old song, Completely Closed. I went to his place with a guy that used to be in the Unemployed Architects and another good friend that I actually played at his wedding. So I mean, it was just a lot of good times, old friends hanging out and just kind of talking, and everybody had their wife and kids were all kind of occupied, so they kind of got the night off which was probably why they were there in the first place. But it was fun to kind of catch up with everybody and talk with everybody, and I ended up leaving, I think, around 5:30 in the morning is how it ended. But anyway, it was a really good time, and the show was good. It wasn't my best, but it was on the line. It was almost there. I wasn't like overly nervous. I wasn't like out of breath. I got a little exhausted at the end, but I still held it together okay. It's weird when you're like at the end of a show. And you're that tired. It's like I can't get, in boxing, which I used to box when I was little, and wrestling, which I wrestled in high school. You get to this point of exhaustion where you just can't lift your arm, like boxing especially, if you haven't done it in a while, and you go a few rounds and it's intense, you just can't even lift your arms at a certain point. And that exhaustion, it kind of reminded me of a similar feeling, because it was like I couldn't get the notes, unless I was really, really focused and paying attention at the end there. I couldn't really get the notes to be not flat, I guess. It was really hard to keep those notes in key, because my breathing was just a little bit labored or lazy, I guess, at that point in the night. I really should have taken that second break. I feel like that would have really made all the difference, but I was being kind of stubborn or bullheaded about it, because I was like, I'm going to give them a good show for the rest of the night and try to keep everybody engaged. But I, forgot that I get tired sometimes. And I was going pretty hard in the middle of the show, which a lot of times I'm waiting till the end. So to keep that going with the foot drums and with, I think sometimes too I confused that, I can do that much easier if Blair is with me, because I'm not completely worn out, because he does half the song. So I get breaks all the time when Blair's there. So playing in a break is nothing, no big deal. But then when it's me by myself, I really need to take those breaks, because I'm doing those foot drums every song, and I'm having to do with the singing on top of it, having to really control my breathing. So that just kind of wears on you. And it was really loud at the end. I was I felt like I couldn't hear. And at the very end, of course, somebody kicked out our monitor feed. I think I said that happened last show, and that definitely happened this show. But that was good, because that was our fourth or fifth encore, so it was a good excuse to quit. But anyway, so that was kind of the show and the night. It was a good weekend. I had a great time. I hope to be back at the pub sometime before too long, because I kind of forget that I don't know, it just has the chance to be a really fun show or a really weird show usually, but this last one was a really fun one. So this next weekend I got 3 shows. Friday night I'm over at Houdini's in Leroy. Saturday I got a farmer's market in the morning, and then I'm playing at Cadillac Jack's at the nighttime. So be pretty busy weekend. So that's what I'll be talking about next time. I appreciate anyone who took the time to listen, as always, and I will talk to you next time. Have a good one.